What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. I'm Sean Woodland, joined by Tommy Marquez from CrossFit West, correct?
Correct.
What's the workout today?
It is a bustling Friday morning here at West. My allergies are going haywire. I've dropped the car at the shop, and I'm glad you asked because it's a stout Endurance Friday. Endurance Friday is a weekly occurrence here, and we do a little bit longer time domain. We don't do the strength metcon. It's just focused on longer efforts. A little buy-in, 30, 20, 10 double unders, 15, 10, 5 pull-ups. That's your warm-up. Then 20 calorie bike, 15 deadlifts, 10 hang power cleans, 5 shoulder to overhead. Go back the way you came, 10 hang power cleans, 15 deadlift, 20 calorie bike. Then, Sean, as Pat sure would say, if you're a fan of fitness, you turn around, you do that intro, you repeat it for a little outro because every burger bun needs a top and a bottom. So
I wouldn't. There's a specific type of burger I would call that workout. So good luck with that today. That is definitely not something that would be in my wheelhouse. No, Endurance Friday is called rest day for me. I'm not
yes,
anything beyond that 20-minute time domain. I think I'll sit that one out.
this is where I shine. This is typically one of my favorite days.
It's funny because I've been coaching at NC Fit, and we have a high rocks class. And so the other night we were doing it, and I went in there just to sort of see what it was all about. So in case if I ever had to get thrown into that, I could run it. And it's man, I was like, it's one of those things where I know I should probably do it just because it is a huge weakness for me. But those workouts are burly.
Like it's a lot of running, a lot of moving, a lot of
grunt work. But I do talk to a lot of people that bounce between the two. They do a lot of CrossFit, and then they'll go over there and they'll go do a high rock class, and they do say like it helps. Like it absolutely has helped them with their endurance and their heart rate, being able to keep that down under stress. So.
Well, and I think Hinshaw has said this more eloquently than I ever have, but so much of what we do is aerobic based. So building that aerobic capacity and building your engine has payoffs in a variety of ways beyond just being good at running and being good at longer time domains. So yeah.
All right. Well, today, obviously Lauren's not here. She's out covering tactical games. So it's just and Tommy. Today, we have some business we got to take care of, and then we're going to get into review of the Mayhem Classic, talk about kind of what's going on this weekend, and then sort of give just a general, I don't know, I have some impressions, and I've mentioned this before, but I have some thoughts coming out of Mayhem that I think we need to take a serious look at moving forward with how the sport is run. But first of all, so this we've been doing this since December of 2018, I think, is when we first started doing this. Long story short is that we're gonna take like an indefinite break, and the motivation behind that is like 90% me. I am dealing with an elderly mother who is needing more and more of my attention. It is causing me to spend basically splitting time between where I live and where she lives in Sacramento. Nothing's wrong. She's okay, but it is just getting to the point where I have to deal with more and more stuff there, and I have less and less time to dedicate to this. And then I also have some other things going on in my life that need to get straightened out here in the next few months that are going to are going to demand my full attention. And that has left very little time for me to do this at the level that I feel is fair to Tommy and Lauren, and I feel is fair to our audience. What we have decided is that while I am dealing with all this, and I cannot put sort of like a time period on this, that we're going to just kind of step away, take a breath. Tommy's got stuff going on in his life. You're building a house, raising a kid. Lauren has stuff. And we just felt it was a good time to maybe take a little bit of an indefinite break and then see what happens, and then try to maybe get this thing going down the road. But that's what's happening. So next week is going to be our last episode for the foreseeable future. And we've already lined up our good friends, the Buttery Bros, to come on, because for those of you and I know there's some of you out there that have listened since day one, they were part of the very first episode that we then re-recorded that they weren't on, but then we brought them back later, and they were a big part of sort of the genesis of this whole project, because I think the first couple episodes we actually recorded in Marston's kitchen.
Yeah, first 2 episodes were in Marston's kitchen on his island, and then after that, I want to say for a good portion of that first year, we were recording in his garage,
Mhm.
when
Oh,
he
yeah,
kinda
that's
built
right. That
when he
yeah, I
built out
forgot about
yeah. He built out his little garage gym, but he turned it into, like, a creative
that.
studio, I
Mhm.
guess, because him and Heber were trying to figure out what was going on, and then we had a table in the back. I mean, some of our first photos that we put out of us recording were in that garage. There's, like, a
Mhm.
couple of really stern
I
ones.
remember that.
I think we're both wearing, like, our NFL team,
Yep.
jackets. Yeah, so and, like, the early days of the podcast and formation of it were, inseparable from our time spent with both of them. So it
Mhm.
felt only right to kind of before this break, kind of go back to that and check in with them and have them on and reminisce a little bit. And I will say this, like we've talked about this a ton off air, but you give that 90%, but a big part of that too is that, like you said, there are significant life developments swirling around all three of us that have made this ultimately decision
Mhm.
come to life. It's not just you, although I do
I'm the
commend
lion's
you.
share of it. Yeah, I mean,
I honestly, like, I really respect you being able to put your hand up and be like, "Hey, like, this needs to get taken care of. I need to take care of this," and doing that because, like, frankly put, there is no TEF without you, Sean.
no, thanks.
That just does
That's
not
nice to
exist
remember.
without you,
I
and it
appreciate
will not exist without you. And so it takes a lot of courage and self-awareness to stand up and be like, I need this. I need to do this. And it just so happens that the timing works out for a lot of other of us to focus on some other things too. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be going to an events and still involved in the sport and
it.
community. But like you said, we've been doing this, I mean, since December of 2018. I remember the day your last day at CrossFit was December 1st, I think,
Yeah,
or November
November 3rd.
30th, or
Yeah.
the last day of November. And the very next day we were on the phone like, "All right, let's
Mhm.
start working on this." And I think at that point now we've been doing this just as long as we have been,
Longer.
you know, longer working for CrossFit specifically as full-time employees. So it's become, I guess, in terms of my professional career, the longest professional or slash job that I have had in a single stretch. And it's something I'm obviously very proud of, and the things that we've done. And I think also, like you said, we want to be able to give this the time and attention it deserves. So if we can't do that, it's time to take a little bit of a break. And
Yeah,
um, yeah, and so here we are. And I think it's exciting. I always love talking with Marcin Heber and reminiscing like that a little bit, and then hopefully, if everything presents itself down the line, we can get back to it at full force
yeah,
and keep bringing what we love to do to this sport community for
right.
sure.
Yeah, so it's not goodbye, it's just see you later, and like I said,
Mhm.
it just got to the point where I was like, "Something's gotta give here," and,
Yeah,
I had to and I love doing this, and love being part of the community, and like you said, I'm still gonna be doing events, still gonna be going and doing
hmm
my thing there, so it's not like, yeah, we're completely done, but this is we're just gonna take a little hiatus here, which
yeah.
is lovely. So,
hmm
okay, let's get into what we wanted to talk about, and that is the Mayhem Classic. That is the first semifinal out of the gate. Uh, this 3 men, 3 women going to the CrossFit Games. And I thought overall, I mean, on site, there were a lot of just technical difficulties that we were trying to battle through just based on equipment that was being used that was no one's fault. Um, but I think overall, that Mayhem has now done that competition 3 times. This is the second straight year they've done it. And the first one I think was in 2021 or 2020. I can't remember. It was one of the sanctional years. Maybe it was 2020, 2019. I can't. But regardless, I think that if this, I'm really concerned about how tenable the current situation is with the sport as far as the semifinals structure is concerned. A lot of people are taking on a lot of risk to have these live events. They're not making a ton of money doing it. It is confusing for the fans. I think it's confusing for the athletes. It's sort of back in the wild, wild west where we were when this whole sanctional system first got floated.
hmm
And I think I am a fan, and I've said this a million times, of a more organized, more easily explainable structure that we had under open regionals and games. I think there's a way to tweak that a little bit to allow for some athlete freedom. in there
Yeah.
to allow for more than one chance to qualify, because I certainly get those concerns with the athletes, because under the old system, it's like, "Hey, man, if I showed up and I wasn't 100% on a weekend, my season ended, and that doesn't seem fair if I know that I'm one of the fittest people out there." Now, I am somewhat sympathetic to that, but I also would counter that by saying, "Well, that's sports.
That's sport, yeah.
Yeah, that's how sports work." Um, but I look at what was done at Mayhem, and I know that that affiliate is sort of an outlier. Like, they're a bigger affiliate. They have the space to put that on. But I think, like, if we want to get this back to a place where it's actually like sustainable and it's not a year to year thing, like, okay, well, what are we doing this year? I think we need to find a way to bring competition back inside the affiliates. And I would love to see, I know there's a lot of big ones out there that could possibly do something like this, but I think like this live in person stage, if we can get that into bigger affiliates around the world, we can get back to something that mirrors more open regionals games. And I think that's a win for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, and I would say it doesn't even necessarily have to be an affiliate, right? Like, I think we have gotten caught up with a certain type of venue for some of the bigger events. That
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily need to be the case.
Hmm.
As long as the field of play, the programming, and the presentation of it to the people outside of the venue are done at a high quality. Um, and I think it kind of goes back to 2014 when we talked about like the invitational and how like that venue at the HP Pavilion was just not the right size for us, you know? And I think at this point, at this stage of lack of growth or wherever the sport is, we need to play to a venue that's more appropriate for where things are financially.
Hmm.
But I also think like Mayhem has a brand engine behind them that that makes them a unicorn in this space, right? In terms of they have the four walls that can pull off an event. They have the financial support from their own success as an affiliate, as a brand, as a programming uh, brand, as basically everything that has had Mayhem's logo on it, and all the different avenues and areas that they have, had touch points in that have made them a global force
Hmm.
on this side. And so it's going to be really tough to replicate that from other affiliates, I think, without some support from CrossFit. I also think that even with all of that being said, there were still some limitations on Mayhem's side because they couldn't just shell out all this money
Yeah.
without some level of return. And like we've had some discussions. Like obviously there were some equipment issues, and there's some I think some we saw it kind of manifest itself on the broadcast in some ways.
Hmm.
But I do think it can be the starting point for the conversation of how do we bring this back to a more regionals s thing, and use some of the tools that Mayhem has done to scale it accordingly, to maybe get us back on some level where like we are showing up to a level of consistency year in and year out from every qualifying semifinal slash regional across the board, and that there's some level of predictability in that when fans tune in, they're going to get to see that all the athletes compete. They're going to get to see all of the events take place in a quality format. There's going to be some relatively consistent storytelling, and it's not going to be the seesaw peaks and valleys of presentation, of
Hmm.
production, and ultimately of like testing. Because I also think that's another thing that needs to be revisited. Like if you have all these event programmers, I get the desire and the want to put your own spin on programming, but I think what matters more for the CrossFit Games specifically, if you're going to if you're going to white knuckle that claim of the fittest on earth, there has to be, I think we have to have some level of standardization for programming to make sure that people are actually taking the same test for the
I
event.
agree with everything that you said. Like, I think that, because the live audience, in presenting this sport and growing it, the people on site are secondary. To be honest with you, that's a secondary audience. You want them in there, you want them having fun, but the numbers that are going to bring in sponsorship and money are the viewers online. So to your point, how do we get back to a place to where we have consistent presentation week over week? Now that's not cheap. Like, I get that there are a lot of barriers here. Like, you have to pay for that. Mayhem shelled out, like, they got a discount for what they were doing, and like you said, there were There were audio issues that we had to deal with. We were dealing with an older broadcast truck. We were dealing with equipment that was running Windows 7 that couldn't talk to the stuff that we needed to talk it to.
Whoa. Windows
No, yeah,
Windows
not
7?
like that's kind of what we were doing. That's I'm not putting that on anybody. That was the reality of the situation. It's like if you're going to put on a good stream and you're going to present this to an audience, like there's just money that has to be spent, right? But to your
What
point, like this week we have Legends Championship going on right now, which is on Flow Elite. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Flow Elite, they have, and I have said this to a Flow Elite representative, so I'm not afraid to say it here. I'm going to say exactly what I said to him. And that is that Flow Elite has a reputation in this space that is not good because of what they were
No.
doing at competitions like Wadapalooza and Granite Games, because their level of coverage was nowhere near what was being given away for free. And if you're going to ask people to pay for something, it's got to be better or at least on par with what is being given away for free. And I don't know, I haven't signed up to watch Legends. I don't have an account, so I don't know what that looks like. But at least
Yeah.
the way to do it. But if you're like, and this brings me to the next issue is like, if you, and I'm really curious, I'd be really curious to like take this out to a lot of people and see what they would say, like fans of the sport, people in the community who are invested in this. Like if we said to the CrossFit community, hey, there's a chance for it. Like we can go back to open regionals and games. We're going to have these competitions that are going to be live in bigger affiliates, and we're going to show them all online at the same level, but it requires you to pay a $50 subscription fee for the entire season. I'm curious if people would do that. Now, I don't even know. Like again, I'm throwing numbers out there that might not even make sense and might not even be enough to foot the bill.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you this is just a hypothetical, obviously. Like if you could tell people like, hey, we can provide this if you pay X, do you think people would do it? And I'm not sure
I would
if they
say
could.
it's
And I think that is the only way right now we get to a level that you're talking about that is equal across the board with presentation of all these events.
and I would say it would take a level of transparency that I don't know if CrossFit is willing to give at this point.
Mhm.
And I would it would have to be akin to how the Rogue Price Purse develops and all the details and everything and the running ticker that goes
Mhm.
on. Like I think if with some foresight they could absolutely do that. One, it would require, hey, like some forecasting. Hey, we can produce these 10 events this way. It'll look like this. You'll be guaranteed this. It's going to cost this. This is going to be the cost passed down to the consumer. If we hit this number of subscribers, great. It's going to cover that. And then we can potentially begin to add a little bit year in and year out, right? Like set these benchmarks. Um, what do they call it in the tech? KPIs, the key
Yeah.
performance indicators. And then also maybe, hey, at some level, if this becomes really successful, not only we're going to add a little bit of bells and whistles, but maybe it goes to the prize purse as well. And you can start to integrate that into the other charge points throughout the season, right? Where like we had this conversation yesterday. If you're signing up for the Open and it's like, hey, would you like to add a subscription for CFTV for like the entire season's worth of coverage for $50? And if you sign up now, we'll throw in a t-shirt, one of the, like,
Mhm.
I think some of the recent like CrossFit merchandise that they've made has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Some of the old
Oh,
school
it's
stuff.
good. It's really good. They sent me some of the stuff and it's really good.
Yeah, we'll throw in a shirt as well, or a sticker pack or something like that. Like I think, and we like, how many times have you been on the checkout and it's like, oh, do you want to add this on, or you want to just do this, or hey, for
Mhm.
only $10 more, you can get free shipping on this, and you
Just
just
go
hit click. It's
there. Mhm.
super easy. Um, and then I think people start to be a little bit more accepting of being charged for something. Because right now, I think we're just in this weird in between where you're not getting a consistent level of professional production. You're also not, now you're getting charged for some stuff like the Magic City Games, Legends, and Masters CrossFit Games are going to be behind the Flow Elite paywall. And there's no guarantee of what your money is being spent on.
Mhm. No, that's exactly what I told the guy from Flowly that I talked to, is that you have to be able to guarantee a level of, you know, of and I don't wanna take shots at people who are taking like, who are really, like, working hard to make
to
sure that
make it
they
happen.
find a way to watch this. Like and they deserve to be like, thank you for doing that. Like for
Yeah,
people who really
sure.
want to watch and for the people who are out there providing it, like that's great. But I think we all need to be honest with ourselves. Like, are you growing the sport if that is the level? If that's the level, like, is that our sponsors going to like big name sponsors going to get on board with that? I don't know. Uh,
As always, two things can be true. You can commend someone for taking a crack, but also understand that, like, hey, just because you took a shot doesn't mean that it's beneficial long term or it's indicative of a healthy ecosystem moving forward, right?
Agreed.
Like,
Mhm.
so it's yeah. I mean, and Flow Elite's issue is they were getting into a sport that I don't think they fully understood at the
I
time.
That's 100% true.
If you're familiar with Flow Sports, they largely work in avenues and arenas of sports that are, I would say, chronically underserved in their production and
Mhm.
coverage, but don't require a ton of infrastructure to actually produce, like college wrestling, track and field. They do an excellent job with jujitsu and some combat sports, but a lot of that is like locked off cameras, not dynamic, set field of play where there isn't a ton of moving or changing, and so you can get away with that. And like the nature of the beast for this sport is just not like that.
Mhm.
It really isn't. We've talked about this for forever. Like in every other sport, the field of play doesn't change.
Every
uh,
single event, yeah, every
every
single.
single event, and every single weekend, and yeah, it's
Well, that's a good, so let me just jump in there because that's a really good segue about the field of play. Like, I think there's a way, like getting this back into affiliates, bigger affiliates that can house something. And I'm not, you don't need to have thousands of people on hand. I'm not, there were a couple hundred, I think, at Mayhem, and it looked great. Like that's all you need. And I think
yeah,
if we could find 9 or 10 of those affiliates around the world where we could get back to sort of a regional model, because I think like I do miss that old, hey, these guys are going to this region. It's going to be a dogfight there, and these
yeah,
guys and then that'll bring us to the next point that I wanted to talk about. It's like where how do we give athlete choice, but also keep some sort of regional lines that are drawn. Um, but I think if you get it back into the affiliates, you simplify the events a little bit. Like we don't need to go totally crazy with the programming. You know, you can you can do something that is universally programmed in the affiliates, and then we can highlight that during the competitive season, like we're at CrossFit wherever in Southern California or in Europe. There are places that could pull this off, right? So
mhm.
that's a cost saver right there because now you're not paying for venues. So take that off the books.
I mean, and even like let's say worst case scenario, if Mayhem was able to produce it in that square footage, there's no reason why you can't do something similar in like I hate to say this, but like a high school gymnasium or
Yeah,
somewhere where the cost is essentially going to be nothing.
right. The only thing you would have to worry about is like broadcast lighting, which can be expensive and things like that. There
Yeah.
are things that you would have to add on, okay? But now you've lowered that cost. You're highlighting the affiliates, which is something I think we have gotten away from in the competitive season just because of the professionalization of the sport. It's not like we need to get it back in the affiliates. So what better way to do that than actually have competitions in the affiliates?
Yeah.
And then if you can guarantee some sort of level of production to present this online, that's great. Now that brings us to the other thing that we were talking about yesterday, and that is okay. And the boys interrupted talked about this.
Yeah.
We've got to
Good
rein
combo.
this thing in. Like we've got to rein this whole choosing where you want to go for semifinals. That's got to get reined in. And the way I would do it is in the whole it pays to be a winner thing. I would draw the regional lines. You would have a designated semifinal that you would go to for your region, unless you finish in the top 8 out of quarterfinals. If you finish in the top 8, now you get to choose where you want to go. But everyone else gets to go to their designated one. All right. So pays to be a winner. And then what I would do is I would have a whole, like they do with the NCAA tournament. I would have a whole reveal show for semifinals. It's like, here are the fields, bam. All right, now let's get like this athlete, and you could bring people in live. I'm going to this semifinal, and then they would put it up there, and like the best athletes would get to choose last because they would be able to see the fields and be like, that's the one I want to go to, or that's the one I want to go to. And more than likely, those are the athletes that have the resources to travel.
Absolutely. We talked about this on Patreon too, but I absolutely love this idea. We have tossed around ideas like this, and I was even excited to see this when Mayhem was going to potentially do the team
Yes,
competition,
something
the
nuts.
2020 games, and they were doing some draft type stuff with programming. I love that that is a made for TV show where you can have athletes live call in and, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, LeBron style,
Mhm.
and have each athlete like plant their flag. That was something that was somewhat cool about the sanctionals era in 2019 and even 2020, is that you started seeing athletes like, and
Mhm.
then this has been discussed before. A great one, like great example, prime example was Fikowski right away in 2019,
Yeah,
I
going to
believe
China.
it was, just went to Asia CrossFit Championships. He's like, I'm going here. Good luck if you're going to chase me, because I'm coming to win this one and I'm going to get the experience. I was at that event, and yeah, he was clearly the class and of that
Mhm.
competition, and no one took him up on that. And there was some gamesmanship. Um, but I also think it creates storylines for the rest of the season and future and beyond, right? Like, if you have a living record of athletes picking who they want to compete against, that's storylines that you get to talk about that we get in regular traditional stick and ball sports, right? Like, it's the rivalries and things that pop up by virtue of what does or doesn't happen on the field. There's a reason why the Yankees and Red Sox hate each other. There's a reason why anyone wearing an Eagles jersey, I want to
Run over with your car. I mean, you could admit it. Like,
douse. I was gonna say douse with some kerosene and light on fire. Sorry,
just
sorry.
jersey, not the person.
Just the jersey. Just the
Yeah.
jersey. Sorry. No, I don't want to light Tim Paulson on fire.
No,
Just his
no.
wardrobe.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but you get to have results outside of just the competition floor that build into that. Like,
Mhm.
imagine, like right now, Boys Interrupted putting out great content. Imagine if they have to make choices of who amongst that group they have to
Mhm.
go and compete against. And that trash talking already happens anyways.
Yeah.
Now we got proof. Hey, you ducked me. You ducked me at semifinals.
Mhm.
Let's get and
And
we
yeah,
get some good talking points.
and I agree with them in that the online semifinal should be the last chance qualifier.
Agreed.
So you can filter, or you can at least have a stopgap for those regions that are more loaded than others, and you have very good athletes that get left out because they weren't in the top 3 or whatever the qualifying position was because of just the strength of the region.
Yeah.
And you could they and so then you have the online qualifier for that, and they all those athletes have a last chance to get in, and there's your field. But I feel like this whole just choose wherever you want to go and do whatever. It's like it's not conducive to telling good stories, and it's not conducive to excitement in the sport. And I think like it is that pendulum has gone way too far to let the athletes choose whatever they want to do, and we need to bring it back to the middle. They need to have some say in where they're going to go. And I think that if you are a winner, and you earn the
You
right,
earn it.
and the odds are most of these guys are going to stay close to home anyway.
Yeah.
Unless you're someone who has a lot of sponsorship dollars and you can pay for a trip to China or to South Korea or wherever you're going to go compete. Like
Yeah.
that's fine. But winner, like that's the way it works in every other sport. It's like
And there's
lines, rank them. You guys are going here, top 8. You get to choose. Let's have a whole show where we do that and we reveal that. And there's so much stuff you could talk about. And then you have the competitions inside the affiliates, and you highlight that. And then the only time you need a legit giant venue or big professional venue is at the games.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a secondary benefit as well, right? Because one of the things we've talked about as being a plus in this kind of format is that athletes are getting exposed to markets from a competitive standpoint that they wouldn't normally be. It's one of the things I've liked about WFP and them trying to rotate as many venues as possible and bring big name athletes to underserved groups. And I'm really bummed that we're not going to Mexico City, but it is what it is. Um, the that like say in quarterfinals this year, you know Justin Medeiros decides like he is now, I'm going to Torian Pro. I'm going to go compete down in Australia. That's a new exciting event for him. And you know what? Next year he decides I'm going to Korea. And now like those Korean athletes who've never had a chance to compete alongside anyone even remotely close to that caliber are like, hey, I get to experience that. I get to see that. I get to have touch points with the fan base. And there's a little bit of excitement around who's coming out every year with that show as well. Where the NFL draft is going on like
Yeah.
right now. It started last night.
Did you see the amount of
That's
people that were there live? It was
yeah,
insane.
insane.
The fact, like, I'm old enough to remember when the draft was just like a blip on ESPN. They've showed some highlights, and that was about it. Like, it was not a live, and now it's like a 4-day event.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's huge. People love it. It's like you could do that show for CrossFit. You'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
checking in with Justin Medeiros now. He's ranked number 2 in the West. He's going to make his choice. Justin, where are you going? Well, I've
Yeah.
decided, like that kind of thing. All right, put his name up. Bam, there's the field. All right. And
You
then
have
you
the big board? Yeah.
keep
Oh,
going up
man.
with this next guy. You could fill it out. Like it would be so fun to do that. And that's like, I think that kind of stuff is what I don't know if legitimizes is the right word, but it just excites people about the sport. Right. And because I could not tell you the problem that I have with the system is right now, I could not tell you how to qualify for every single event. I don't know what the process is for Legends. I kind of know what the process was for Mayhem. I'm not sure what it is for, Magic City or for Far East. Like, I don't know. And
Yeah.
again, like, I just think there'd be something really cool about having a big event inside an affiliate, big name athletes. And look, I get it. Those facilities, you might not have 10 around the world. We probably do. I think we do. Out of all, like, I think you could find 10 that could host this.
Mhm.
And it would just be, I don't know, it gets us back to remember the old sectional days? How like just
Uh-huh.
down and dirty that was?
Yeah.
It's just back to our roots of who we are, like down and dirty, but then we can present it in a cool way that makes it palatable for your everyday viewer.
Yeah, it's crazy because obviously, like, not the best circumstances, but seeing some of the tribute stuff from Rob Orlando and him
Yeah,
competing at a regional that was in a parking lot back in the day.
right.
Um, don't have to go that far, but it's an understanding of, hey, maybe we can reset a little bit. But you know what? I think will help you with the qualification understanding, Sean. If you go back to your Gateway 2000, fire up Windows 7.
Yeah. We had yeah. Um,
It came out in 2009.
wow.
Support ended for Windows 7 in
Yeah. And
2020.
look, I wanna give the Mayhem Media team a ton of credit because those guys, like, they are a
Yeah, they
well-coordinated.
crush it.
They did a fantastic job, and Rich and his crew, like, the whole like, that to me is that affiliate is so well run, and it's got the environment that you would want out of an affiliate. And I know some people are turned off by it, the faith thing and whatever. That's your personal choice. But I tell you what, going in there as an outsider, it feels like a family environment. It feels like a really cool place to go. They genuinely care about the community and the sport and the methodology. Um,
I have always gotten like a down home kind of feel from
yes.
going in that. There's a magnetism to that place that you're just like, yeah, I can see why people want to be here and want to hang out here and be a
Mhm,
part of this. Um, and and then there should be no surprise that they've been able to, that magnetism has pulled in a ton of like really awesome, high caliber, high performing human beings
mhm.
that have helped drive that success beyond Rich's own exploits, and uh, you got to see it. I mean, some of the like the short form
Mhm,
and highly produced content they put out on social, and the when they reveal for the logs on the first event,
mhm.
I guess is also a testament to it felt like a really cool Rogue commercial with like the
Yeah.
saws and
Uh,
slow mo and like wood chips and sawdust going everywhere, and I was like, yeah, they're like, I think I need to go run up a mountain right now. Like,
mhm.
let's go do this.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, they put together something really special for sure.
Yeah. So I I want to see this. Like, I want to be able to watch the action, and I want to be able to care about it. And I want to be able to. And again, I thank you to the people who are busting their butts to make that happen.
And we did have some results. Victor Hoffer and Paige Rogers,
Yeah,
awesome
it was
job all
it
weekend.
was a great competition to watch. Like, I thought the way it was like the that event, when you
Uh-huh.
looked at it on paper, you're like, that's it. But then when you watch it play out, it was incredible. Like the fact
Oh,
that drama of them getting to the last rep. I mean, that's the reason Austin Hatfield wasn't in the top 3. I think he
yeah.
finished 13th in that event. Everything else was like 8th or better. And that
That,
probably would have gotten him in. Had he finished, like, that's huge. Like, that's the kind of drama as a fan you want to watch. Sucks for Austin. I get it. That's
it does.
horrible,
Yeah.
but that's the kind of drama. Like, you're sitting there and you can tell people are starting to struggle. It's like that event was fantastic. And they really didn't do in the confines of that gym. They didn't do anything too crazy. It was just
No.
right down the middle, good test of fitness CrossFit.
It's funny. I had a similar reaction when they announced it because Chase was one of the top comments on the workout announcement, and he was just like, "Someone finally did it," because this is a benchmark that's been around for forever,
Yeah.
and no one has really truly adapted it to at a high level for competition like this.
Mhm.
But they picked the right weight, the right loading, and structured it in a way that I just was very simple and clean. And it's all or nothing. That's what made it so exciting. It's the nature of it having to be unbroken, and the fact that um, it's basically this very clear zero sum game. You either get it or you don't, and if you don't get it, it doesn't matter how far you got; it all goes away. Just made it so dramatic. And
Mhm.
who's gonna pick up the bar for this round? Who's gonna rest too much? And it almost felt like every time someone was shown going back to the bar, it was like, okay, all right, someone's going, strap in, like, all right, good luck, especially at the end.
Yeah,
People's
I know.
hands are flying off,
It
and
was crazy, and it always came with it wasn't like the 5th rep. I mean, a couple people
no,
did because they just didn't have it.
yeah,
It was, like, always that last one, like, "Oh, man." And it was such a
like,
great event, like, I loved it.
I mean, the Gabby Magawa's save, like,
Oh, that was ridiculous.
I
Like,
mean,
that was
Gabby's a homie, and obviously we got to be in the booth together all last year at WFP. Kids don't do this at home. That
no,
this is it's reserved for high level sport only, but that was one of the more amazing, gritty, totally should never repeat that
no.
saves
And it
I've
was
ever
funny
seen.
because there was discussion, we were discussing standards and, like, and you could rest the barbell in the front rack. You could
Uh-huh.
hold it in front of you, but you couldn't do that, like, in the hip crease and
You
regrip,
couldn't hip
and a
crease it.
couple
Yeah, yeah,
people got called on that. There was one
yeah.
specifically I remember, no rep. And I remember when that happened, it was like, "Is that resting?" We were and Rich is like, "Listen, man, there's no way that like, that's if you can get out of that, like, you congratulations. That's absolutely not resting," but
If if you somehow recovered in that position, then you're not
yeah,
then it doesn't matter. You're not human anyways.
right, exactly.
uh, it kind of reminded me of the Josh Bridges heavy clean save. I think it was in
Mhm.
the clean ladder in 2016 where he caught it and it was like below his nipple and he like
Yes. Uh-huh, and
kind
hit
of
the front.
shrugged it, just insane. I
And
don't,
go
I
ahead.
think I held my breath for the entirety of
Oh,
that last rep.
it was nuts.
She got it, and I exhaled and passed out.
Yeah,
It was
it was so
oof.
cool. But, like, even when you look at getting back to the affiliate thing, like, they had those poles in the middle of the thing, like, you just gotta work around it, but it was
Yeah.
fine, and the floor wasn't that big. It really wasn't. I mean, they have
No.
enough room to put that rig in there with would they have 10 lanes that they could have? They could have 10 lanes, and it was not gigantic, but as long as you can get some people in there and you got a place to, set up some cameras, and that's really all you need, and I just think we need to start getting competition back into the affiliates and just highlighting that and getting that community thing back. Because when you think back to regionals, I talk to the guys that I work out with on Friday mornings, the dad group I go with sometimes at 5 a.m. And these are not hardcore fans, but they do remember regionals and they remember going like as a gym, going to regionals and cheering for their people. And it's like, if you start putting this in affiliates and it's in town, like now you just have a big party at an affiliate.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah,
it gets us back a little bit to what our DNA is. But then
yeah,
you present it in a way that is really cool.
yeah, and the end result was I would say both of the winners were a little bit of a surprise. Um, I mean, Paige Rogers, just a
Yeah.
tremendous performance all
She looks
weekend long.
great.
She
She
looked
looks like a
fantastic.
different athlete.
Yeah, and I mean, got that mom strength, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a legit thing.
there are some well documented instances of like strength and all of those things going up post pregnancy, but her ability to get back in the pocket and train, I mean,
Mm,
to go from what last place last year at this event to turn around and win it, it requires a tremendous amount of dedication and hard work and focused effort. And she put it on full display there and beat out two athletes, and Emma Lawson and Lucy Campbell, that I think a lot of people had
mm,
earmarked for the top of this. And a similar story for Victor Hoffer, right? Like his injury history is well documented, and he's always had these flashes of brilliance where it's like, oh man, like let's see what he can really do. Um, there were points along the weekend where I thought he showed tremendous growth and poise, and kind of let some of the chaotic chips ahead of him kind of fall where they may, and other people make mistakes, and then took a much more steady approach. And I think him and I think Andre Houdet from No Shortcuts deserve a ton of credit for that. And if you look on that resume and you see the two people behind him, and Roman Krennikov and Jeff Adler, that is nothing to sneeze at.
No,
Being able to outcompete for them in 6 scored events in such a compressed time window, that is a huge, huge feather in the cap for Victor, for sure.
agreed. Yeah, it was a great competition, and looking forward to seeing how things play out this weekend at Legends. Um, I'm really interested to see what the coverage looks like. Because getting back to our original point, like if you're going to charge people, it better be at a certain level.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if it's not, you have to be very open about what it's going to look like ahead of time.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really, I mean, and to be fair, the price is not like it's if you go to flowelite.com and then you go to like you click on Legends Watch Live and you click sign up, it's well, you got to create your account, but it's not like I don't think the cost is oh yeah, best value is annual plan at $13, if even that, right?
Yeah. It's minimal.
That's
It
but
might have
no,
even
it's
gone
13,
down.
13 a month.
Oh, 13 a month. Oh, that's different.
Yeah, but you're paying $13 a month, right? So you could even cancel it and pay 13 bucks for one event. And then they have a monthly plan where you pay month to month that's $30. So they want you to commit to a longer thing, obviously. But
Don't love being forced to have to like sign up and cancel. Just yeah, I don't know. It's
I
weird.
mean, there's I think the bottom line is like the question that needs to be answered is will CrossFit fans pay to watch these events? If and like I agree with you, you have got to show them this is exactly what you're getting. It's like when my affiliate raises fees. Okay, it's like, hey, we raise fees, but look, here's what we are buying. We're buying all these sleds, we're buying all new crash pads, we're doing this, and we're doing this. So they can show value to your money, like what you're
Yeah.
getting.
Yeah.
You got to be able to do that. I'm not sure if that can happen right now. I agree
Look,
with you on that.
costs all over the place have been steadily rising. Just as long as as long as you don't lie to us, don't pretend to be something you're not,
Mhm.
and be very open and honest with us and transparent and forward, I think people will be willing to spend that money.
Yeah, I think if they knew they were getting consistency across the board, for sure.
Yep.
And then, then as far as the competition stuff that is going on, like I think videos I think every athlete that wants to advance through the season should have a video of every single workout available. Doesn't mean it's going to be watched by CrossFit, but it can be watched by the people putting on the semifinal. If it's a
100%.
they can watch it and make sure that okay, this person's legit. Like you can kind of crowdsource that, and that way all the information is out there. Um, and then
Yep.
I love the sort of like let's kind of geo lock these to a point, and then you get to choose one. Unless you're if you fall if you're above a certain seeding out of the quarterfinals, you get to make your choice of anyone. It's open to the whole world is open. Everyone else has to go to their geo targeted one. Um, and I think that simplifies it and it provides for some really good storytelling. And then the spectacle is the games. That's the one where we're at a big event. We're at a big arena, and that would be my. I think like I'm just really like to finish where we started. I'm concerned about the sustainability of the system because
Yeah.
it's such a lot of like you look at a guy like Wilson Pack who's been doing this for a while, like putting on events. I think that's a labor of love for Wilson Pack. I don't think Wilson
Yeah.
Pack is like raking in the money by doing the Syndicate Crown.
And he, regardless of whether he is or not, he's one of the few people that should be, based on the effort and time
Yes.
and dedication and
Yes.
the risk that he has taken in putting these events together, and how he's consistently like shown up and bent over backwards to pull these things off. I mean, and it does not just reserve to his event. Like he is at other events, getting involved and helping and supporting. I think it was 2022, maybe. I think I saw him on a forklift at like
Yeah.
6 different semifinals or something
Yep.
crazy.
Mhm.
It's just like, oh, all right. Like he's just Mr. Fix It.
Yeah. There's just people in this community that when you see them at events like Hicks. Like when you
Yeah.
see Hicks at an event, oh yeah, of course you're supposed to be here. This is what you do. And when you see Wilson at an event, yeah, you should be here. This is is what you do,
Yeah.
or Wilson Tang. It's like, yeah, absolutely get that guy over here. There's just some
Yeah.
people that when you see them at an event, you feel better. Yeah. So,
For sure.
all right, we got anything else that we want to address today?
No, I do have a brief community support.
All right.
The Rogue just announced that they're doing the throwback Rob Orlando shirt.
Oh,
It's
that's
the
awesome.
Orlando it's the old Orlando Strength shirt with
Yeah.
like the stone on it, and a portion of the proceeds are going to go support Rob's family.
Oh, that's
So
great.
if you haven't already, or if you're interested, like go to Rogue Fitness. It's an awesome shirt. God, I had that one back in the day, and I wish I had saved it. But go grab another one now that they're doing the rerun. It's a classic, and it helps support Rob's family. Um, so yeah, that was one that kind of came across that I
Mhm.
think is definitely worth people taking a look at.
And
Yeah, and
well, you're going to be on the road soon because
yep,
WFP is kicking off.
yes. First WFP tour stop in London, um, and yeah, it should be good. I got to see some of the like design elements. It's going to be a little bit different, obviously, because they had to pivot and go from Mexico City to London in short order. But the floor looks good. Some of the stuff that they rolled out last year with some of the creative lighting is going to be good. Yeah, excited. Like I'm genuinely excited to see the whole like team there with Jeremy and Lauren and Amy and Joe and the Tommy Smith and the whole crew. Katrin's going to be in the booth with us this
Oh,
year.
great.
Yeah, so that's going to be really fun. Yeah, it's an exciting time. It came at the most unique time for me as personally
Yeah.
as I'm going to be leaving the country and I'm going to be trying to deal with getting final inspections
Oh,
for our house.
good God. Man, that is even like when you're buying or selling a house, when you have to start dealing with that stuff, it's such a freaking headache.
Oh, I wanna say it was, like, right around my birthday. Uh, my wife and I were talking, and we're like, "This is gonna" we're, like, kinda forecasting. I'm like, "This is gonna land right when I'm out of the country, huh?"
Yep.
And
It always does. Like that
yeah,
stuff always happens. It's like, oh,
always.
great, I'm gone. And then it's crisis number 5 is happening, and there's nothing I can do about it. And my family
Yeah.
hate me when I get home.
Always. But, yep, it'll be fun. I'm excited to hit the road, see everyone in the UK.
Mhm.
There's such a really strong resurgence of fitness and CrossFit in that area. There's a very well established affiliate community. I got to go out there for Friday Night Lights a couple of years ago with
Yeah.
Rad, and it was awesome. So yeah, always a fun trip to head out to that. I was kind of looking at maybe trying to sneak in tickets to Liverpool versus Man City on
Ooh,
Sunday, but it's obviously up in Manchester, and that's not a short jaunt
yeah,
away. So, but still, should be really fun. Excited to see the season 2 for WFP kick off and
yeah,
kind of get things rolling in that
yeah.
direction. And yeah, still
I
some talented athletes.
I really felt like you guys hit your stride in that 3rd show. I was like, "Okay,
Yeah,
I can see it." Like, this is so, if that's where we're leaping off of, I think that's that's a good starting point for 2026. Any PRs and no reps?
uh, I I was gonna PR Mom Strength originally from Paige,
Yeah.
just because that was super, super cool. And also, I was gonna PR parenting because seeing Roman's kid on the podium,
Yeah,
you remember, like,
I
that's like
do.
a time warp of had his baby, when he had the podium at the games, and he was, like, so tiny, and now he's, like, standing there, and I'm pretty sure he's already got, like, a 100-pound squat. I'm like
Probably.
"Oh god, the kids are growing."
Yeah,
Like, where's time going?"
I
That's
know, it goes
crazy.
fast, man.
Yep.
Definitely. I'm just gonna PR my affiliate, NC Fit, and everything that they've been, the community there has been, just such huge source of support for me. Yeah, I've been coaching Frankie Russo, who is with HWPO, but also kind of our head coach at NC Fit has been unbelievable at
Mhm.
helping me out, and I really appreciate like the process that I've had to go through to get to the point where they're like, okay, yeah, you're ready to go. Like it has been It wasn't like, oh, you want to coach? Sure, jump into class. Like, it has been a long shadowing and interning and running portions of the class and then getting feedback. And then it's really been a great process. And the community there is just like at every CrossFit gym, at every one. It's second to none. And if you're a member of that affiliate, I cannot thank you enough for just you guys have been there for me these past 8 or 9 months because it's been a source of a very like a solid refuge for me. And I go there and I, like that's what this is all about, right? Like the CrossFit community is second to none, and if you can get into an affiliate, go. It will change your life, not just because of the fitness level you're going to achieve and the way you're going to feel about yourself, but because of the people you're going to meet and the relationships that you're going to form. And it's like that's
Mhm.
the art of NC Fit Camp.
1000%. Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here in my affiliate, CrossFit West, and they're just one of the best at some of my lowest
Yeah,
points and most difficult times. Like uh, I have found solace and clarity in the walls of this gym and working out and some shared suffering with my friends.
yeah.
So,
Get thee to an affiliate. All right,
yep, exactly.
the nunnery. Get thee to an affiliate. All right. That is going to do it for today. We got our finale coming up, at least our until we go on break next week. We got the Buttery Bros stopping by. That's always fun. That will probably go off the rails. But hopefully people are going to be entertained and maybe you'll chuckle a little bit because I know we will take a trip down memory lane like we always do. So that is going to do it for today, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. For Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other. Be better. We'll talk to you guys next time.